Good evening, everyone. The spotlight shines on me today, and my name is Gayle Crocker. I am a seasoned educator and a counselor. I have served in the Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach area as a counselor and as an educator. It is my hope today that I will share something with you that will inspire, empower, motivate you to develop your personal best. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to have a mindset moment. So if everyone would just close their eyes for a moment, and this helps to set the tone for my topic on creativity. If you're able to, please close your eyes or just think for a moment about how you are creating your legacy. And as you think about how you are creating your legacy, consider the mantra, all things are possible. Now, what you are creating in your own uniqueness. Everything that you are doing along this journey is a creative expression of who you are. Every little bit of pop, sizzle, pizzazz, ha, sparkle, finesse, that's your it factor. That's you. And that's also me. So you may open your eyes at this time so that I may begin to present on the topic of creativity. Next slide. So the teacher in me wants to share with you what creativity is. By definition, creativity is the use of the imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work. The operative words that I want to point out to you are imagination and artistic. We are both those things. The counselor in me wants to remind you of just how important it is to see yourself as an artist in any of the work that you do. This is your creative brilliance, and you must use every bit of your gifts and talents to deliver God's very best. Next slide. How do we use creativity? Well, I thought back to my childhood growing up in Liberty City in the 70s. Somehow I just knew how to use my creative brilliance. I just knew how to do it. Grade school Gail remembers reading advice columnists like Dear Abby and Landers. And I kind of took to that at a very early age, the idea of being able to give and receive advice. And I knew that this was going to be a part of who I am right now. I'm going to probably date myself when I say this, but I remember the episode of Happy Days when I saw Dr. Joyce Brothers for the very first time as a psychologist on one of the episodes. She was poised, she was polished, she was professional, she was a problem solver, and she was a psychologist. And that speaks to who I am at this point in my life. Again, I just knew that was who I wanted to become. I just didn't see mirror images of that in the community where I was growing up. So I figured I'd work on it. Later, I would have the opportunity to meet some of those same mirror images as I grew older. And now I can also add my name to the list. Next slide. Right here in this slide, I just want everyone to kind of pause. And I want to use this time to remind you to never stop dreaming. Don't stop believing and keep creating, even if you have to reinvent yourself, if you need to. I also wanted to reflect on a time that was a crushing moment for me. And then out of nowhere, while sitting at the University of Phoenix, out of nowhere, Ann McNeill appeared. She only asked me if I had read a book that I never heard of, gave me her business card, and she reminded me, among a small group at that time, that you must have a dream in order for a dream to come true. The book we know, Think and Grow Rich, has blown my mind over time. I attended the annual conference the following year, and I have reimagined every day of my life since that time. Next slide. So I thought it best that I share with you a few strategies, and I call them power thoughts. Some things, some tidbits that I have picked up along the way from what I consider to be some of the greats. So, power thought number one for how to manage your creativity: draw on the right minds, engage the right people. I heard from John Maxwell. And we also know that this is the power of the mastermind. It's also the power of think tanks and focus groups and meetups and meetings like this on Zoom, because there is a synergy that exists when you come together and it empowers us to think, and it also empowers us to create. So again, my power thought here is study the greats in your fields, in your interests, in your hobbies, so that you can explore, you can think, and you create beyond your imagination. I like to use Muhammad Ali right here as an example because he lived, he embodied, he believed, and he said it all the time. And I am the greatest. And when I look back at his accomplishments, that's all that comes to mind, and that's all that I see. Although I know that there were good moments, there were bad moments, we still embrace him as the greatest. Next slide. Now, here's just another thought from John Maxwell. You can read it as I read along as I read it out to you. Creativity is contagious, and the more time you spend with creative people engaging in creative activities, the more creative you will become. So, just as we know with all talents, the more that we add to it, the more that it develops. Next slide. My second power thought on how to manage creativity: tap ideas from all ranks, include a variety of imaginations, and don't forget, I always tell my students, and I tell anyone, don't be afraid to ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question, except the one that you don't ask. Keep in mind that there's no such thing as an overnight success, and there's no such thing as someone who came out of nowhere. They began by asking questions, by probing thoughts and ideas. And they say that it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. Well, at this phase in my life, I want to tap the experts that already have those 10,000 hours and add that to uh, my talents. So I tap those experts and I ask the questions, and I'm doing what I need to do in terms of getting in the room in order to further develop me creatively. Next slide. As you may have gathered, inspirational thoughts carry me throughout the day. They're all over my office, and I'm just, of course, adding them to the PowerPoint for you all. Um, and the thought here is no man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, part of the main. Next slide. And that adds to this next power thought, where I say, be open to diverse perspectives. Your perspective can either be your prison or your passport, is something that I once heard. And this past summer, what I wanted to share with you all is I took a photography class, and the instructor told me it was my first photo shoot. We were taking some um, pretty standard shots. And she said, for this one, I want you to get on the floor. And I looked at her like she was bananas. She said, get on the floor. And by changing my perspective, believe it or not, those were some of the best shots that I was able to take of the couple and during the photo shoot. So I wanted to share with you here that using that as an example, we have to capture light from different angles. And again, you have to change your perspective, because I wasn't thinking to get down on the floor. I was putting a lot of work into doing the shots directly while standing up. But she said, get down on the floor. And again, I was able to capture some different perspectives of the individuals that were in the photo shoot. Next slide. Again, another quote: when diverse perspectives are brought to the table, this is the truth and everybody benefits. And so when I think back to that first photo shoot, and I was extremely nervous, and I was really just trying to shake off the jitters and understand how to take better pictures and become more technology savvy. The couple loved the shots. I didn't expect to get paid for it because we were doing it through the class, and they paid me for it. And again, it was something that adds to the talents that I already had. Next slide. My final power thought comes from Bishop T.D. Jakes, where he says, you got to learn how to break the rules. And I'm going to share from you just a little bit of his story because, again, many times I embrace pieces of other people's story in order to get me through some of life's challenges. So he said the first rule is to break the rules. Creative people are people who break rules. When I came to Dallas and I started pastoring in Dallas and I set this church up and started preaching in this church, I had people to join the first Sunday. And within a year, I was up to 10,000 members. And people in the city came out and told me, you can't do that in Dallas. And I said, well, I didn't know it. And as long as you don't know it, you can do it. But the moment you start knowing what you can't do and what you can't have and what you can't be, that's the moment that you're incarcerated to the rules around you. Anytime you hear people telling you what you don't know, they have brought you into the rules and they live within the limits. But if you're really going to do something awesome, you've got to color. You've got to color outside the lines. You've got to be prepared to break some rules, and you've got to be ready to go where other people haven't gone before. You've got to be willing to do something that looks wild and looks crazy, that looks different. You must be a rule breaker. And I am indeed at this point in my life a rule breaker. I didn't say a lawbreaker, I said a rule breaker. I've broken the rules in order to achieve more successes, but I'll tell you about that later. So until next time, I am Dr. Gayle. I do hope that I inspired, that I motivated, and that I empowered you to be your best self. Thank you.